Hello, and what is going on, my button mashers? It is NatesLegend, of course. On screen with me today, though, you may not recognize him, but he's been a big component of the show. We are joined by Patrick Beatty, and I'm going to be honest, our viewers should know who you are. This entire show is hosted on your channel with your videos. Why would anybody not know who you are, though, Patrick?
I don't know. I don't want to talk about that. Biden won. He's president. Woo!
It has been such a long time coming. It needs to happen. Here we go. It needed to happen. Sorry, not needs to happen. Needed to happen.
Didn't today feel like such a relief, bro? Like a little tiny bit.
It did. I was
like
at
leaving
work
a bad relationship. It's like, oh god.
Yes. I moved work from home and was able to. I have a little TV up here, so I'm working, doing my thing, and I have the whole inauguration up. I'm making sure to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Just sigh of relief when the hand went on the Bible. Like, oh goodness.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to be on the show. Like, I've not jumped in and done hands-on stuff with it because honestly, I feel like the best way to do it is to have you handle it. I don't know shit about video games, so I'm gonna have some ideas. Might not work. And I haven't studied it because I don't want to. I think that's the best way to handle this. I'm going to be your worst guest, and I'm going to be your best guest. At the same time.
You're going to be the best guest. You're always
going to be your best, but for the worst reasons, man. Partial nudity.
Okay, I'll take it.
Language.
Why are we only
getting
going
all of it? I don't know.
Okay, all right. Well, let me introduce here our next guest as well. We have Jeremy joining us. Hi, Jeremy.
Hello. Hi, guys.
How you doing today? So, Jeremy, you do a lot with streaming. You have your own channel. What? Tell us about your channel.
Yeah, so my channel is Duke Mumford. It's in my thing there. I'm primarily a rocksmith streamer, which is kind of like Guitar Hero, but played with a real guitar. And I take requests and fun things like that. So that's my main game, but I also stream other variety games like Among Us, Left 4 Dead. I've been playing Black Ops, Cold War, Zombies, and so that's been a fun one for me too.
Jeremy, with Rocksmith, does that mean that it's coming down like in kind of a drop-down format for whatever chords you're supposed to play, or is it in like guitar tab form? What does it look like?
It really does look a lot like Guitar Hero, but it appears as tablature. So you do have like a scrolling, like I don't know, musical staff. So the notes are coming at you vertically, like Guitar Hero.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Wow. All right. Well, anybody watching, definitely check out the channel. I've already pulled him up, getting subscribed myself. So want to make sure to get the plug in there. Don't miss out. But before we really got going, I asked you guys our icebreaker question here. I always like to start with the question. Question I asked today: what video game do you believe deserves or needs a live-action adaptation, and who do you think should do it? Now, when I say who should do it, you can choose whether it be director, actor, whatever you want there. Kind of open book. Let's start with Patrick. What would you say?
Nice. Well, I'm going to go full screen because I deserve the full screen for this. I think it's time. It's time we expand the Wreck-It Ralph universe, and we do it in a big way, in a way that people aren't expecting, and in a way I think is relevant for the times. I'm talking Pong.
You went silent there. Do you want to try that again?
Oh, my P hit too hard. Pong.
Okay. I had a feeling that's the direction you were going to go with that. And I've actually thought about it.
Directed by Taika Waititi. This stars John Boyega and Oscar Isaac as both sides of the panel, and they have to come together to fight a common cause, which is outdated video games being just tossed away and being irrelevant, much like the first one. But the twist is going to be they're a gay couple.
That's all you needed, though. That's the premise of the story, though. That has to be.
Bye, everybody. Thanks.
Them learning to love each other along the way and learning that they fell in love.
Glad I could be here. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
Yeah, that's all we need, Patrick. Thank you so much. Oh, no. Keep your ass right. Yeah, Jeremy, what do you think? What should be a live action?
Well, a few games came to mind. So a few honorable mentions. I would say I think it'd be really cool if they made a movie based on the what was it, 2018 game Control, which if you've never played Control, it's amazing. It's atmospheric. It's dark. It's super cool. And it's a third-person shooter, so you can't go wrong with that. And you have psychic powers and fight ghosts. I think Control would be cool. Horizon Zero Dawn would be super cool. But I think ultimately, if I had to pick just one, I think a StarCraft, preferably TV show, would be the best option. Because StarCraft has a huge universe. It has a lot of lore to it, a lot of rich characters. And going a little bit deeper, I think it should be directed by Denis Villeneuve. Is that how I say his last name?
Oh shit!
Yeah,
Man,
the guy that's
dude,
doing Dune
gonna
and
attack you, bro. My co-host for Gaggle of Geeks, that is his favorite director of all time, and I have to say it in the douchey way that he says it.
Do it.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
That's how
okay.
Well, hear me out.
I'm a stupid American, so you know.
No, you're okay, Jeremy.
Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve.
So I think he should direct it. I think Ben Affleck could play the character of Jim Raynor. And I think for Kerrigan, part of me prior to what happened last year with Amber Heard, I probably would have said Amber Heard for Kerrigan, and that's really unfortunate because I think she fits the role. But I think you could definitely get away with maybe like I don't know, maybe like a Jennifer Lawrence or something. I don't know. I need to think on that one a little bit more. And then I think the character of Arcturus Manx could be played by Ian McShane.
Ooh, nice.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. All directed by HBO.
Glad you bring up HBO. That feels very like TV series to me, though. If we're going StarCraft with how rich that actually is, I'd almost want a full-on TV show dedicated to it.
No, I think it would be better off as a TV show rather than just a movie. But if I had to settle, that's fine. A movie is adequate.
Fair. Well, and Patrick's one step ahead of me. We have Alan, who is recommending. We started out with Fallout 76. And we are changing our answer to potentially Cyberpunk.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
I don't think those would be bad options at all, actually. That would be a really fun one.
Well, because it couldn't get much worse, like Alan said.
Yeah, it really couldn't get much worse.
Unless it's directed by Tommy Wiseau.
All right, now moving on. Normally I would do the news, what's coming out. I had Scott do it last week. If you guys, anybody caught that. There's no news this week. Not because there's no news this week, but because I don't want to fucking do the news this week. So we're not going to do the news this week, and we're moving on. So that actually, the reason I asked you guys the question that I did, what movie deserves its live action adaptation is that's kind of what we're talking about today. Bringing on Patrick, being a movie aficionado, we wanted to bring you on and kind of talk about the movies that were made from video games. Mm-hmm. So really just going to break a few games down here. Just looking what made the movie good, what made the movie bad, what could they have done differently? If potentially a different actor or different storyline, different director, whatever else. Just kind of break them down individually. If there's any that anybody wants to talk about, throw them in the chat. We'll see if we can kind of break down our thoughts on it. But to start out, we have our honorable mentions. Now, I chose these games mostly because I don't feel they count as being a part of the list. So I have like Ready Player One. Yes, I understand that, as I accidentally put things on the screen, I understand that like it's about video games, but it didn't come from video games. Same with like Jumanji. I would actually say Scott Pilgrim as well. Mm-hmm. They deserve to be mentioned, but I don't think they count. Right? Like, what do you guys think? Are there any others that you may fall into that list that you can think of?
I mean, I would agree with that. I like Scott Pilgrim and Ready Player One are both like an homage to classic games and how they, influenced our lives or our upbringing. So they're not about video games. Mm-hmm. It's more about more about life as influenced or affected by video games. but they're still like, you know, both pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely. They were both great movies. Absolutely great. Scott Pilgrim remains to be one of my favorite movies of all time. Have you guys read the comics at all?
I have not.
No, I've not read any comics from it.
Yeah,
I saw there's some.
I was gonna say you got to add that
second
part of that sentence in. If you don't add the from it, I might have to slap you.
Well, here's
go
the
ahead.
thing with video game adaptations. Like it's either like what you said, Jeremy. Half the time they're not necessarily centered around a story arc from a video game adaptation, or it's trying to go so heavy into a story arc for a video game that it ends up losing its own identity and disappoints people that actually like the game, because you can't really replicate a storyline where you're spending like 12 to 48 hours like invested time in it. I think that's the big issue with them. But there's so many options for what they can do now, like with small screen stuff. For instance, The Last of Us is coming to HBO. And The Last of Us is one of those where you really can't do anything else but make sure that it's like a series, because there's just so much rich storytelling that you have to keep involved.
Yeah. Especially with how deep the story really was in the video game. Like, how do you match that level of intensity and fit it into an hour and a half, 2 hours?
Yeah.
You know, that way too much to cram, you know, that. So I'm glad it's coming, you know, as a series instead. That, you know, makes things a little better.
Who would you cast in the roles? I know they've already cast them, but who would you put?
Go ahead, Jeremy. I'm going to think. I
mean, I still think that. Why can't I remember his name now? Ellen Page, but it's not Ellen Page. I'm so mad about this.
Elliot Page.
Elliot Page. I still think Elliot Page is a dead ringer for the character of Ellie. Yeah, I still
isn't she too old at this point? Isn't that kind of like having Tobey Maguire play Peter Parker, where it's like you're in your 30s?
I mean, she still looks pretty. I don't know.
Depends on the direction that you want to go with it, I suppose. If you really think about the progression so far, we have kind of the aging process already. It's not a bad thing if she is a little bit older and can just.
Or she plays old Ellie, you know, that's fine too. And for the character of Joel, I don't know.
I'm not going to butcher the last name, but Joe DiManganiello.
Yeah, no, he'd be a good one.
Anything with him in it, just I'll just watch him.
How similar in character arcs are Logan and Last of Us? Because honestly, you could just copy paste that for me and that would work.
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't follow The Last of Us. I started playing it, but I didn't get all the way through. I've mostly just done the videos, watching, just trying to keep up with the story. I don't know if I could accurately answer that in the limited amount that I have.
I'm out of here.
All right, bye. Oh wait! Oh, and that's not removing it.
There's the fake out.
Yes. I have just as many controls as you do there, Patrick.
I have the power.
That's fair. You can get in. It's your account. Like you.
I have the power.
It doesn't matter what I do. I'm getting booted well before he does. Jeez. All right, back on track here. I also threw Silent Hill and Resident Evil as our honorable mentions. They've gone their own path. They're their own things. It's based off a video game, but I don't feel like diving into them is really necessary, you know? But I know you guys had a couple movies / games that you wanted to talk about. We'll start with the one that you recommended, Jeremy. Well, let's start with Warcraft. Let's jump right in. Your suggestion. Go ahead. How do you feel about Warcraft?
So admittedly, I was not the biggest fan of Warcraft growing up, or even when I saw the movie. Like, I've played Warcraft 1, 2, and 3. I didn't play World of Warcraft, but I always thought StarCraft was the superior franchise, and I'm going to keep that opinion till I die. That being said, I think that Warcraft is probably the single most faithful adaptation of a video game into a movie of any movie that I can recall. Admittedly, I haven't seen Monster Hunter and Sonic the Hedgehog, but I think Warcraft is the one that like takes the cake for faithful adaptation. And I think that's a kind of a double-edged sword, because the first time that I saw the Warcraft movie, it had been so long since I'd played Warcraft 1 that I was so lost the entire movie. The entire time. I had no idea what was going on. In the theaters, I'm like, who's this guy? Why is this important? Like, why is any of this shit important? And the movie doesn't explain these things to you. It assumes that you know and are very heavily invested in the Warcraft universe, and that they don't need to explain anything to you, which I think is true of half of the members of their audience, but it's not completely for the other half. So, a faithful adaptation can be a good thing, but it's also not. As the movie came out like on video and I watched it again and like learned and read up on Warcraft, like I came to develop a much fonder appreciation for the movie. And it actually like for a time got me back into like playing the games. So I think Warcraft is a really interesting one because it's done extremely well. The costume design is really good. The CGI is good. The acting is not so good. But you can definitely tell that like Blizzard was very involved in the production of it. And it really shows in the movie.
And I feel like this is one of those video game movies that falls into a very dangerous trap, which is they have a ton of money coming in from the studio because it's I mean, obviously the video game developers want their games made into movies. So you have all of this money that's getting funneled in, and then the movie comes out feeling almost B-list with an A-list budget, right? So the marketing was fantastic for World of Warcraft. Mountain Dew got in, you got all sorts of...
It's a good director too. Have you seen Moon or Source Code?
Yes.
He's a good director. He's a solid director.
Yeah, and there's nothing to really like bash on with the directing. It still came across as almost a B-list movie though, if it. Another one that I'll throw into that mix there is Forward Unto Dawn, and that's kind of one I wanted to discuss a little bit potentially if we ever get to it. But like Forward Unto Dawn, all this money going in, and okay, I'll watch it in my spare time, So that's a very fair point. Patrick, how do you feel about it? Did you ever see the Warcraft movie?
No, I only saw the trailers for it. To me, it looked like a Lord of the Rings knockoff, and I was like, I don't want to really jump.
You're not
too much.
Entirely wrong.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is one of those things where it's a catch-22, where if you're not going and checking out new films that are featuring different stuff and aren't just kind of like a sequel or a reboot of something, then you can't really complain when all you're getting is sequels and reboots. So it's part of the consumer to go and check it out, bad or not. So that's on me.
That's fair. No one can blame you for not going to see a movie that isn't in your wheelhouse,
Yeah.
Love
I'm
it.
on TV, Nate. Yeah, I'm on TV talking about movies that I don't know it.
That's again, nothing
Actually,
wrong.
You're gonna get that's gonna be a repeated thing throughout all of this because honestly, I don't have a lot of respect for video game adaptation movies. So I'm just like,
it's fair.
But I do have one to talk about though. I do have picks, but did Jeremy have others?
Yeah, Jeremy, what else? Did you have any others that you want to specifically? I know I just have a list of different ones. Didn't pick anything specific.
I'd love to talk about Assassin's Creed.
All right.
So I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan. But I should clarify that like the part of the Assassin's Creed fan base I'm part of is everything that came before Origins, where they completely like changed like the gameplay systems, made it more of an RPG, and all of that. But still, that's like 10 games leading up to that. So, it's a lot of Assassin's Creed. So the Assassin's Creed movie, I was very excited about because
both in 2016, Warcraft and Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it was a good year for video game movies, and well, I mean, in that we got a few of them.
I was going to say
we got a few of them. So Assassin's Creed, I was really stoked about. I liked that it had Michael Fassbender, it had Jeremy Irons, Marion Cotillard, who is like my little movie crush. It had those three in it, like this trifecta of like acting goodness. And
Lord have mercy, I'm about to bust.
and also, you know, that Assassin's Creed is, I mean, it has like this modern story, which has this magical machine that allows you to relive the memories of your ancestor. And so, I mean, so that's kind of cool. But then there's also like this huge historical focus. So
what went wrong? Why did this movie suck?
So why it sucked?
I hated it.
And it's understandable that you did. I completely, whenever people talk negatively about Assassin's Creed, I completely get it. But I also think too that it was a somewhat faithful adaptation. Like I'd say Warcraft is still above it, but Assassin's Creed was a faithful adaptation. I liked how they did the Animus in that it was kind of more of like, you know, you don't just come out, you know, laying in this bed and know how to like climb walls and assassinate people. It's like you learned through like muscle memory. And I felt like that was a really clever way of making that connection. But I think ultimately it sucked for the same reasons that people dislike the modern story in Assassin's Creed. And it's because it's just not interesting. The Assassin's Creed game,
a better story.
And it's hard because like the games, like the modern story in Assassin's Creed games it's incredibly confusing. Like they don't spend enough time teaching you about it or making you feel like you should care about it, because everything else that happens, whether you're in, you know, the Crusades or you're in Renaissance Italy or you're in Egypt, all of those things are 100 times more interesting. You're playing an Assassin's Creed game to climb the pyramids of Giza or to jump off of the Eiffel Tower. Like that's what you want to do. And the Assassin's Creed movie had the same fault in that it spent way too much time on the nobody cares modern story and not enough time in Spanish Inquisition Spain. The maybe third of the movie they spend there is really good and it's exciting and it's again super faithful to the game. But it sucked because you didn't care about the other 66% of the movie. The music was good though.
That's fair. I do see where you're coming from. I think it's kind of interesting with that point, though, where the movie was so, close to the video game, and it was so, you know, it paralleled so well, because I don't feel like the video games parallel the video games anymore. I don't think the video games are true to the original story like the movie was. The movie was spot on to what the originals were trying to go through. And at this point, like, I have not spent any time, like maybe 10 minutes out of the Animus in Valhalla.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to be there. You're not learning anything more. Like the entire story takes place in there. You're not there. There's nothing more to it. Like they just assume you know. But when I watched the movie, I'd never played any of the games. I say never. I started playing one. I thought they were boring. And I don't do open world often, but I thought they were boring and stopped playing. So it was a fresh take for me. I thought it was extremely fun to watch. It dragged in areas, sure, but overall, like it was a good movie to watch, having no understanding of the video game itself.
Yeah, and I think that's been a continual challenge for Ubisoft because, like, in the last 5 years or so, they've really started to distance themselves from the grand modern story that has just gotten much more confusing and very convoluted. There is the continual joke about the Assassin's Creed games is that before you go play a new one, you need to watch a 20-minute YouTube video explaining where the story is at, which is not a good way to run a video game franchise. Like if you have to refresh yourself each time because the story is that confusing, that's not a good look. And with the movie's modern story, which again isn't super good, is so simplistic compared to the game's modern take on the story. And I think like they were trying to mirror that. Like they were trying to, they don't want to distract you with too much of what's happening outside the Animus. And yet you still spend 2/3 of the movie outside the Animus. And so I don't know, like it was like Ubisoft said, went to some studios like, hey, make a movie and here's the rights. And we'll just like check in every now and then. And then the studio like kind of did it. Got feedback from Ubisoft, but I don't know. Like they weren't as close to it, I think Blizzard was with Warcraft.
Falls into that B-list type movie with a big budget of cool. You made the visuals look real pretty, but like Why are we not investing that into fixing the story and making sure that you're focus grouping enough of these to fit the world that you need to fit it in?
Right.
I do want to point out as well. So in the new video game, you can still track a lot of the old stories that they were focusing on with like the Isu and all of that fun stuff.
Yeah.
It's all side quests though. 100% you piece it together in side quests because as you're going, you're just picking up like small little tidbits and it's all out of order. So like you can do it, but there's a reason that you need to watch that 20 minutes because not everybody goes through and does those side quests to update yourself. So I'm with you. It could have been better, but I didn't dislike it at all.
I don't think the games by any are. I don't think there's anything lost on them, like more or less like sidelining the story. Like it's good that they put it in there and as a side quest, so you know those that want to do side quests can do it without getting like bogged down by what would that be now, like 10 plus years of lore, which I think is really important. And I think again, you know, they tried that with the movie, but it just, I don't know, it wasn't executed well. Like, give us more time in the Animus, or just take it out altogether and be like, yeah, you are an assassin in feudal Japan, and who cares about everything else that's happening? Just be in Japan.
Yep, I flashed on the screen. That's been my take for a hot minute as well. All of us seem to be on the same page. Just let us walk around. I mean, didn't they do that with the new Phoenix Immortal Rising or whatever it is? Phoenix Immortal I don't know what it is. Isn't that what it is? Like, you just live in that world. You're not doing side quests. It's completely detached from Assassin's Creed, even though that's where it derived from. So
yeah, that's my understanding of it.
So, I mean, if that's the case, we know it's possible. We know they can do it. So why not just do it? Call it quits.
Yeah.
Move us on to something else, you know, because I would have killed for Assassin's Creed Valhalla in the Phoenix games, like whole setup where you're living there, similar to God of War. That'd have been fantastic. I would love to see a game like that too. So
also should be a movie one day.
God of War. Yes. Speaking of which, I'll talk about that one for a moment. Triple H for lead actor for Kratos. Triple H. Y'all can look him up.
See that
Triple H,
the wrestler.
Yeah, the wrestler. He is Kratos. Like, that is his face.
But are we talking like Greek Kratos or Norse Kratos?
Yes, we are talking Norse Kratos. Sorry, I should preface Norse Kratos. Who would you guys cast as a Greek Kratos? Who would make a good fit there?
Physically, it would probably be The Rock. I mean, The Rock is the physical embodiment of what Kratos looks like in God of War 3.
I get that. I'm looking
but I also think he's maybe like too big to play Kratos. I don't know. I'd almost want like an unknown, so you're not bogged down in thinking like, no, this dude's The Rock. He's gonna lay the track down on some. Yeah, I like Jason Momoa.
Jason would be good.
But are you really gonna ask him to shave his head though?
No.
Yeah, he already cut his hair. No, he shaved his beard.
Yeah, but different situation. Facial hair you can
also wigs, man.
Cover, but like your hair, do you know how long it would take to get to that length? Like, Patrick, did you see my 2020 versus 2021 picture that I posted? Y'all, my hair was this long and now it's this long. It took a year and I'm still nowhere near where Jason Momoa is. Like, y'all, don't ask him to cut his hair, please. Don't ask him. I did notice if we're gonna stick with this wrestler route, because I'm not opposed to that if we're doing Kratos. He doesn't talk a lot, he grunts a lot, isn't opposed to walking around without a shirt on or just spandex or something. Another really good one would be and now I'm the monster among men. Y'all, help me out here. It's cool.
Michael Douglas Keaton.
Michael Douglas.
I have no idea. Michael Douglas Keaton, Downey Jr.
One sec. It is Braun Strowman. Oh my goodness, Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman would be another good fit if we're sticking to wrestlers. And he actually dressed up. If you guys get the opportunity, he did dress up as Kratos for Halloween last year, or the year before last year. Anyway, there's pictures out there of him, and it looks fantastic. Looks just like the new video game. So, there's that one. I'll just throw another name out there.
Yeah.
Any other games that you can think of there, Jeremy? Any movies that you wanted to break down?
Let's see. I actually had a list pulled up. Give me a second.
Yeah, by all means.
There's one that we have to talk about that.
Well, you're doing that.
While you're doing that, yeah, cut to me.
No, we're going to quickly break down for just a second. You pull those up. You think about it. You mentioned as well you hadn't seen Sonic and Detective Pikachu. Is that correct?
I haven't seen Sonic, but I have seen Detective Pikachu.
Perfect.
And I'm a big Pokemon fan.
Perfect. All right. Then we're definitely going to make sure we get to that one.
I've got opinions on that one.
Patrick, either of those, have you seen them?
No, but I want to talk about.
Fantastic.
I want to talk about. No, I've seen both of them.
Have you? Okay, good. All right. Were you able to find your list there, Jeremy?
Yeah, actually. One I'd like to talk about is Doom, which starred The Rock. So, bring it full circle.
Segues.
So, like so many people that are in their 30s now, I played the original Doom on like PC, and then I played like the remakes that happened, the original one on the Doom 3 on the Xbox. I played Doom 2016, and then finally like Doom Eternal, which came out last year. So I played a fair amount of Doom games, and I think the Doom movie was on TV like 6 months ago. And I'm like, I just played Doom Eternal. Let's watch the Doom movie. And it's awful. It is so generically bad. And I can't say that really does anything well, except for, and it has the BFG in there. So that's important. It has a few, things that you see from Doom, like the demons with the spikes that throw fireballs. And of course, like Pinky, like the wheelchair, like kind of hybrid dog thing. But so, Doom's an interesting one because this was like when video game adaptations were like, there weren't a lot of them at the time. Like I think probably the most famous one prior to Doom was probably Mortal Kombat. And then Doom comes out, and it's starring The Rock, and it has Carl Urban in it, and a few other people, but it's not a good one. It's not one that like holds up. But I will say probably the most memorable thing about it is when it suddenly turns into first person, and it has like. So have you guys seen the movie Hardcore Henry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, yeah. So, I know of it though.
Yeah.
POV
So
fighting one, yeah.
Yeah, like that movie's nuts. And I think that Hardcore Henry probably mostly happened, because of a movie like Doom taking that chance where it's like, for 3 minutes in the movie, we're going to go into first person and make it seem like, like you're playing Doom. And what was unique was like in Doom, your gun was in the center of your HUD. It wasn't to the, the right. And in the movie, your gun was in the center. And so it's like, so that was a neat little homage to the original games, even if the movie itself was terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you guys this, because you'll both know, I've never seen Doom. I never watched it because reviews exactly like that. So let me ask you this, and you can make it as broad or as specific as you want. What makes Doom bad? What makes it a bad movie?
It's just so generic action movie. Yeah. There's nothing special about. There's nothing like, I don't know. Doom doesn't really have like an especially great story to begin with. It's like these scientists open a portal to hell, and then hell happens, and things go wrong.
Fuck shit up.
Yeah, it's like you have your literal plot device that creates the plot, and then generic good guys come in to save the day. Like I think that's why it's like, if you didn't know that there was a video game based on Doom, you would think it's just like any other action movie that comes out any other part of the year. It's like the Expendables, but with like less star power.
how much of that is intentional, though? I mean, at the time, as you were saying, I mean, we're looking, no other video game movies have released. So was that intentional to the point where just in case they wanted to disassociate from it, they potentially could? I mean, obviously that didn't happen, but like, does it feel like that's the case, or does it just feel like it was accidentally made generic?
You know, I think like so many other video game movies, I think it was an attempted like cash grab. They're like, okay, this is an IP that people know about, so let's make a movie on it. You know, let's just do one. Like that's what it feels like, and it definitely comes across like that. Like we'll find an action director like Paul W.S. Anderson, for example. I don't think he directed Doom, but like that's kind of just what happened. Let's find an action director. Let's find some actors that'll just agree to shoot guns and stuff like that, and we'll just go ahead and make the movie. There was no thought.
Willy-nilly.
Exactly. We'll just we'll just get someone to write something real quick, and then people will want to come see it because they're shooting demons.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean,
see that
it just feels very lazy. So, and I think that was and I think it was easy for them to make a movie like that because, like, at the time, again, there weren't a ton of video game movies, and I don't think the public was like that burned out on video game movies, or had caught on that like this is how video game movies are being made. They're being made as intentional cash grabs. So
okay, and that makes sense. So, do you feel that it's actually a bad movie, or is it just the expectation of the movie was so high that when it came out, we're also disappointed that we refused to let it be good or okay, at least, or is it just bad? And I mean, okay, if it's just bad.
I think it's just bad. What do you think, Patrick?
I've not seen it.
That's okay. You're forgiven for missing that one.
Yeah, again, I've
missed.
chosen to miss that one though. So you're not at fault here for.
Well, if you let me talk about what I do know, I've got thoughts.
We're getting there. Okay, so let's start here. Let's start here, guys.
I'm antsy.
Patrick has said he wants to talk about.
I got ants in my pants, man. You've let me be silent for so long.
One. It's the only movie he wants to watch or talk about. Excuse me. So we're saving it for the end so that he can get his reveal.
I already gave you my one. I gave you the Pong one.
Oh, not for. Is that the one you wanted to talk about?
That's what I was talking about,
bro. You set this up as some big reveal, and you ruined it during the icebreaker.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know you didn't know that. That's the show.
Patrick.
That's the show. That's how it goes.
It is what it. All right, so we can break down
that
Pong.
you get that.
Go ahead, Patrick. Break down Pong.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't want to talk about Pong. I want to talk about Silent Hill.
Okay, talk about Silent Hill. What makes Silent Hill?
Well, here's what they need to do. They need to go ahead and start rebooting it and putting it in with Blumhouse funding. Blumhouse needs to take this and run with it and start a whole Conjuring universe with Silent Hill. Start it big, give Guillermo del Toro a huge budget, let him go crazy with it, and then from there you can pass it on. Put in like Andy Muschietti from It. Put in whoever did Dr. Sleep would be a really good one for Silent Hill. Silent Hill, I think, is the one that needs to be refreshed and rebooted. Also, Tomb Raider, it really needs to improve. Like, it has a lot of potential that they just don't really do well with.
I think the choice of Tomb Raider, Alicia Vikander, I think she was great. But I mean, I only watched like 30 minutes of Tomb Raider on TV, and it was not nearly as good as the games, because the games, especially the reboots, are amazing. They really like reinforce that like she was not prepared for everything that's happening. And I think it's hard to portray that. Well, I think a longer format helps too. I'm of the opinion that video games need to not be movies. They need to be TV series and take more time to tell the story and develop, so that way you can bond with the character. Because Tomb Raider is like a 20-25 hour game, and you're condensing that to a 2-hour movie.
Yeah. any game that has any sort of sequel to it immediately loses. I don't want to say immediately, but loses the ability to just simply have a movie, because what they're going to do is they're going to take both of those video games and try to compress both of them into one movie. If there are sequels to the video game, it should immediately be given TV series status.
What about Prince of Persia? Series or movie? They tried it with Jake Gyllenhaal. Just don't do that again. Just don't do that again. And I think
I never actually saw it.
Like, after that movie, I don't know if you can come back from that right now.
Do you think they could ever fit a Need for Speed in a Fast and Furious world?
No.
They tried. I thought it was good. I liked that. I mean, it wasn't great, but it's worth a watch. You guys really
don't know.
Speed?
What about Street Fighter? They're doing Mortal Kombat.
They are. We have Mortal Kombat coming out. Jeremy, go ahead. We've cut you off like 3 times. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I don't think. Okay, if Need for Speed were truly about cars, unlike Fast and the Furious, then sure. But you know, I don't think that's like the most interesting thing to people. I think too, like with Prince of Persia, I haven't seen the movie. It did not look good to me. But I feel like Prince of Persia could fit the movie format, just because I think the stories are pretty self-contained. They don't seem like they're super long games. You know, they're more, if they're long, it's because you're dying from platforming. You know, they're not long because of the story. So I don't know. I feel like that could be it. As for Mortal Kombat and like Street Fighter, yeah, I absolutely think that there could be stories there. There is an overarching story to Mortal Kombat. And that's that, you know, they need to defeat Shang Tsung and then later Shao Kahn from like merging the realms and causing essentially the apocalypse. But I don't know. It's hard because how do you do that, but also be like, yeah, but there's this competition, you see, and we all have to compete against each other. I don't know. It's a weird thing.
They have the new movie that's coming out, and it looks promising so far. I mean, based off the images, I'm just curious to see if they're going to go with the full fatality route along the way.
Yeah.
Like, are you actually going to do that, or is it just like
I want babalities?
You know,
babalities.
If I don't see one babality, I'm walking out of the theater.
You know, now what if it's at the very end though? It's the post-credit scene.
Like they just make Sub-Zero babality.
Yeah,
that's like the Easter egg for the next film where everyone is babies suddenly.
Yeah,
they have to fight, and they'll be put in like Ewok costumes.
Yeah,
I'm into that.
Just a small little Easter egg there. At the end.
Do you think they do Hitman or Max Payne again?
Yes.
Again.
IARC. There actually is another Hitman movie coming out. IARC. Don't quote me on that. I'm like 90% sure of it though.
Uncharted is coming out. How do you think they're going to do with Uncharted?
Depends. Didn't they just cast Tom Holland for that?
They just wrapped. Yeah, it's finished filming. Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He's filming Spider-Man 3 right now.
Can I be honest though? As much as I love Tom Holland and I think he'll do really well in that role, how do you not just let Nathan Fillion, no matter his age, do that role? Like that role is Nathan Fillion.
Yeah. I don't know. Tom Holland is huge. You know, like the Uncharted games are some of the best games to come out for PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. Period. They're on every critic's top 10 list of games for that console. But like outside of that console, you know, how do you get people to come to a video game movie? You pick a star. You pick Jake Gyllenhaal. You know, you pick Tom Holland. So,
or you go full Sonic route and listen to feedback and change the entire design of your character in the entire movie. Actually care about what the community says, and that's how you draw people in.
We're looking at you, Clifford the Big Red Dog. The fuck? The fuck are you doing with that dog?
Actually,
man, that looks terrifying.
I think I have a really unpopular opinion about the Sonic movie, and I'm more than happy to voice it here.
Go ahead.
You guys want to debate with me.
Say about the Sonic movie?
I think on one hand, I think it's great that they listen to feedback and they change Sonic. On the other hand, I think that type of fandom is kind of toxic and horrible. And the main reason I believe that is because, like, yes, we all got the Sonic we wanted, but what about all the developers that had to crunch and work overtime and, you know, basically start over because of the, you know, it's not like the developers were like, no, this is, or the, you know, designers were like, this is Sonic. Like, clearly there's always someone above them that says, this is the Sonic we're going for, and do it. And they did it. So I feel really bad for those people because, like, they're now having to, you know, essentially start over because of fandom.
Although I don't disagree with you on that point, yes, it sucks that they have to start over.
Yeah.
2 points to make. One, they're not the ones we have to get the point across to.
Sure.
The one that we had to get it across to was the person that was the higher up. And the only way that we're going to be able to do that, unfortunately, is to bully everybody and make them restart. If they've already made the decision to fuck it up, like, you get to deal with the repercussions now. You get to pay your employees to fix it. And I'm sorry for the employees, but it is what it is. But two, like, I think that's why it became so much more important for us to go see this particular movie. We literally bullied them into making a change that we wanted that is unheard of in movies, not to that level. And so I think it was just super important that as long as we support that decision and show our love for it, I don't feel bad if it pays off in the end and everybody, because they're going to make the money. We're going to get to see the movie we want. Yeah. I don't see it being too impactful. I think it negates itself, if I'm honest. So
sure. No, I can understand. I mean, I see both sides to it. And I think the same can also be said with Detective Pikachu, because some people really did not like the way the Pokemon looked in Detective Pikachu. But I liked it personally.
That's the one good thing about the movie.
Yeah, I knew quite a few people that were like, "Oh no, like I don't want to see like Pikachu's hair. Pikachu doesn't look like that. He doesn't have hair."
Bitches.
And I'm just like, guys, I don't know what you want. Like, you want live action, great, but you want them to just like look like they are in the video games, where they just look soft and like, you know,
Those people want to have sex with Pokemon, and I know it.
They wanted the Star Wars animatronic they were hoping for. Like, you know, that's all they wanted. They didn't actually care about CGI. They just wanted the animatronics and make it look like Star Wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
They also feel love. That's one of the fans, probably.
Have you seen
is that what you did? Is that what you did?
No, I like the scales. Give me scales. Give me weird skin. I want one that has the skin that kind of looks like, you know, penis skin. Wow. Like, make it look real accurate.
See, and then I think about, like, you know, every now and then I see these videos. There's a cat on my, see, here's her tail.
Here we go.
So every now and then I think about, like, I see these videos about, you know, photorealistic Pokemon, you know, gritty, dark take on Pokemon. Like, I'm sure you guys have seen, like, some of those, like, fandom videos, and those look awful. Like, anyone I think that, like, that prefers that version of Pokemon to what they got in Detective Pikachu, like, I don't think they're really like a true Pokemon fan, because, like, you know, they didn't play the Game Boy game. They didn't play the card game. They didn't trade the cards. Like, if you did these things and you've been invested in Pokemon since the beginning, like, Detective Pikachu checks the boxes and falls short in other areas. But the Pokemon are executed well, even if Mewtwo did look a little on the creepy side. But he's supposed to. He's engineered.
That's the dick skin that I was looking for on Mewtwo. Because that would work really well, right?
Yeah.
Just like, geez, yikes.
They definitely.
That's the only way I can describe what that skin looks like. What else could that skin be described as? Where else do you find it? Armpit?
It's still just skin.
I'm in this is how I'm ending my segment. Right. That's how I'm ending my side of this. I want authentic.
Authentic Patrick Beatty. You're ending on a dick skin joke. Speaking of which, Letterkenny, anybody? No, yeah.
No.
All right.
Funny.
No dick skins jokes then. All right, so we do have a couple other movies that are going to be coming out this year that I'm really interested in seeing. Hopefully, we get kind of the big ones here, but we have Detective Pikachu and Sonic 2 coming out soon. We have the Uncharted that you guys were talking about. We have Mortal Kombat, as we were talking about. We do have a Gears of War movie coming out as well. Minecraft, and my personal favorite, and I don't understand it, but Just Dance is coming out with a movie.
Nice.
I thought Jane
Fonda's like a step up.
already existed,
What
but
if it's like Save the Last Dance or Step Up? And it's like, damn.
Yeah, like it's got to be something like that,
Like Pitch
right?
Perfect. But it's like, we're a dancing club.
Why? How do you turn that to a movie other than
Make
that?
it like Tokyo. It's like Tokyo Drift, but instead of drifting, it's Dance Dance. Boom. Boom. Mic drop. That'd be dope.
There it is. Just DDR in the back room.
Yeah.
Good movies coming out. Any other movies that you guys can think of that are coming out here soon? Any that I missed there?
I mean, there's been talks for years and years and years about HBO developing a series based on Diablo, which I have Diablo in that corner right there.
Well, Gears of War is coming too.
Yeah.
Or Metal Gear Solid.
Well, I think Metal Gear Solid is actually closer to reality than like Diablo is. Because I don't know, like I thought they had an actor cast for.
Yeah, it's Oscar Isaac, I think.
Oscar Isaac, yeah, and I love that. That's great. That's good casting.
Cool. That'll be a good fit.
Yeah,
that'll be a really good fit. Well, Diablo would be fun. That actually could depend on how Diablo 4 goes down. I mean, they did Diablo 3 so long ago that if you just come out with a TV series and try to pick it up, where's the marketing? Where's the selling point? If you're gonna go for the cash grab, create the game, release the game that people want to hear, not Immortal, because I have a cell phone. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, and nothing like that. Like make a game and then release the series to go along with it, so that we have something to play into, to bleed together, and really re-energize and rejuvenate the audience to want to go and play and see it again, you know? So I think that would be the most important key factor, but Diablo would be a really fun TV show to see. That'd be really fun.
They could release it along like a remaster of Diablo 1, but I don't know.
Yes. Ooh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to go ahead and do it for our time today. We went way over what I kind of promised you to try to keep it at, so I apologize, but give you guys a second to kind of plug your channels, let us know what you're up to, where we can catch you. Jeremy, where can our fans catch you? Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch. I stream 3, sometimes 4 nights a week. My Twitch handle is just below at Duke Mumford. Like I said, I'm a Rocksmith streamer, but I also play other games like Among Us and Call of Duty and things like that. So that's probably the most you could connect with me. And there's other ways too. I have a Discord and Twitter and all that, but you can find all that on my Twitch.
Well, give them a follow. Absolutely. Hope everybody checks you out, and yeah, we appreciate you coming on, man. It's been fun. Great to kind of kick back with you. So moving on to Patrick, though, we do have. I usually have a little shtick that I do, trying to get you all of your plugs through here, and I don't have to do that this time.
Yeah,
it's your turn. Plug yourself. Go.
Oh well, that's how I'm ending this show, huh? First,
if we're gonna talk,
and then you're gonna tell me to plug
we're gonna
myself.
get plugged too. There's no in between.
Where's the plug going? Okay, so you guys could check out Gaggle of Geeks. You know that we're doing this. That's where this is on. We have a new series started called Pat Chats. It's a lot like TED Talks, where we just talk to people about industry professionals about the things they love, hate, their life, their story, the in betweens. We just had one of the hosts of ABC4 Good Things Utah, Dina Marie Manzanares on. I come on every Friday or so to talk about movies with her. So we got a chance to sit and talk about her life and her start doing New York, and actually her start doing YouTube. She's a YouTuber turned into TV host because of just how much she was able to do with that and how much she was able to like influence with that. So definitely go and check that out. And of course, leave a rate and review on Gaggle of Geeks, on our Apple Podcasts, everything else. And yeah, thanks for having me on, man. This has been great.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. I've been wanting to get you on for a little bit here, but it's really difficult where you have your own shows, and so wanted to make sure we really played into your forte. We try to focus on some movies as best.
And I still didn't watch the
and
movie.
you still didn't watch it. That's all right. We forgive you, and we'll have to get you back on here, even if it's just for some plugs. Anytime you want, you're welcome on the show.
Sure.
Join in anytime. But that's gonna go ahead and do it for us. I'm NatesLegend. You can catch me Twitch, Twitter, all of it. This show, actually, I host the show over on my Twitch as well. If you want to go watch it there at NatesLegend. But that's all she wrote. Just just keep on gaming.